Number 7. The Sacrificial Squid. Squid are generally portrayed as the ninjas of the ocean, masters of camouflage, jet propulsion experts, and all-around slippery customers. And while that's often true, some have a rather unique approach to predator evasion. Instead of just darting away in a cloud of ink, though they do that too, the show-off some deep-sea squid species will actually detach a glowing arm tip to distract a hungry predator. It's like saying, "Oh, you wanted a snack? Here, have this appetizer while I make my grand escape." Imagine the biological commitment there. You're literally sacrificing a part of yourself, a perfectly good tentacle. Mind you, in the hopes that a glowing, wriggling decoy will keep the beastie busy long enough for you to become a ghost. It's the ultimate look over there maneuver, but with significantly higher stakes than your average playground trick. One has to wonder if the arm tip has any last thought as it drifts away, flashing its bioluminescent goodbye. Probably just hoping its sacrifice wasn't in vain and that the rest of its owner makes it to safety. Selfless or just plain desperate? You decide. Number 6. The Vomit Defense Force. Okay, maybe wanting to be eaten is a bit of a stretch here, but some deep-sea creatures have developed a truly unforgettable way of dealing with predators, making themselves as unappetizing as humanly or rather animally possible after being swallowed. Take certain types of deep-sea shrimp. When they feel threatened, their first instinct might be to flee. But if they end up in the belly of a larger fish, plan B kicks in, and it's not pretty. These shrimp can actually regurgitate a cloud of bioluminescent goo. Yes, you read that right. They vomit light. The idea is that this sudden, dazzling, and probably incredibly unpleasant expulsion of luminous material will startle the predator, potentially causing it to, reconsider its meal choices and maybe even spit the shrimp back out. It's like ordering a fancy dinner and then having it violently and glowingly reject you from the inside. Talk about a bad review. One can only imagine the predator's internal monologue. Ugh, what did I just? Did I just eat a disco ball that's having an existential crisis inside me? Nope, nope, nope. Survival in the deep sea definitely isn't for the faint of stomach. Number 5. The Self-Destructing Sea Cucumber. What's the most valuable thing you'd be willing to part with to get out of a sticky situation? Your phone? Your wallet? How about your lungs and digestive system? No, well, you're clearly not a sea cucumber. These squishy, bottom-dwelling lumps have taken the art of the getaway to a level of biological absurdity that is both horrifying and, frankly, kind of inspiring. When a predator, say a hungry crab or a curious fish, decides that a sea cucumber looks like an easy meal, the cucumber has a truly unique defense mechanism. It doesn't run, it can't, it doesn't fight, it hasn't got much to fight with. Instead, it violently contracts its body and ejects its own internal organs out of its anus. Yes, it literally shoots its guts out. This process, called evisceration, serves a dual purpose. First, the sudden plume of sticky, stringy entrails can startle and entangle the attacker. Second, it provides a handy snack. The predator, now faced with a free-floating buffet of respiratory trees and gonads, often gets distracted, allowing the now hollowed-out cucumber to ooze away to safety. You have to respect the sheer audacity of it. This isn't just playing dead. This is playing disemboweled. The best part, the sea cucumber can just regrow everything it lost. It'll spend a few weeks feeling a bit empty inside, both literally and figuratively, but it will eventually regenerate its entire set of internal organs from scratch. Imagine being able to solve your problems by projectile vomiting your own intestines at them. The morning commute would be a whole lot different. Number 4. The Bioluminescent Burglar Alarm. So you're a small, squishy creature drifting through the abyss, and something bigger decides you look like a good appetizer. What do? You scream for help, except you don't have a mouth, and sound doesn't travel quite the same way. So you scream with light. This is the brilliant high-stakes strategy of the alarm jellyfish, or atolawai. When this little jellyfish is grabbed by a predator, it doesn't just meekly submit to its fate. It triggers what can only be described as an underwater rave of panic. It unleashes a series of brilliant, pulsating blue light flashes that ripple across its body, illuminating the darkness for a considerable distance. Now, this might seem counterintuitive. Why would you advertise the fact that you're being eaten? Well, you're not trying to warn your friends. You're trying to attract a bigger, nastier bully. The hope is that a much larger predator, like a big fish or a squid, will see the flashing lights and come over to investigate the commotion. When it arrives, it's not interested in the tiny jellyfish. It's interested in the thing that's eating the tiny jellyfish. With any luck, the new arrival will attack your attacker, and in the ensuing chaos, you might just get spat out and float away. It's the ultimate "I'm telling on you" tactic. It's the biological equivalent of pulling the fire alarm during a mugging, hoping the ensuing panic will save you. A bold strategy that turns your own demise into a dinner bell for something far more terrifying. Number 3. The Anglerfish Attachment Issues. You think you've seen clingy? You think you know what it means to give your all to a relationship? Oh, you sweet, naive summer child. Let me introduce you to the male anglerfish, a creature whose entire existence is a testament to being so down bad. It makes your worst dating app experiences look like a fairy tale romance. In the crushing blackness of the abyssal plain, Finding a mate is less like a fun night out and more like finding a single specific grain of sand in the entire Sahara Desert. So, the male serratioid anglerfish, who is laughably tiny compared to the monstrous female, has evolved a one-track mind. He doesn't care about food. He doesn't care about a career. His only purpose is to find a female. He follows her pheromone trail for what could be his entire life. When he finally finds her, he doesn't introduce himself. He bites down hard, and he never lets go. His body then begins to release an enzyme that dissolves his own mouth and the patch of her skin he's latched onto, fusing them together on a cellular level. Their circulatory systems merge. He is now, quite literally, a part of her. From this point on, he's just along for the ride. His own eyes, fins, and internal organs wither away into nothingness. He becomes a parasitic appendage, a living sack of testes that draws all his nutrients from her blood, providing her with sperm on demand. He is literally consumed by her, his individuality erased in the name of procreation. She might even collect several of these parasitic boyfriends over her lifetime, so next time you worry about losing yourself in a relationship, just remember it could be worse. You could be a dissolving sperm backpack on a giant sea monster. Number 2. The tongue-eating terror. Picture this. You're a fish, just swimming along, minding your own business. You feel a little tickle in your gills, but you ignore it. Big mistake, because that little tickle is an uninvited houseguest with a truly diabolical moving-in plan. Meet Simathoa exigua, the tongue-eating louse, a parasitic isopod that takes making yourself at home to a whole new level of biological horror. This charming creature enters a fish through its gills and crawls its way into the mouth. Once there, it latches onto the base of the fish's tongue with its 7 pairs of horrifying little legs. It then proceeds to drink blood from the main artery, acting like a tiny, living vampire clamp. Over time, the tongue, deprived of its blood supply, atrophies, withers, and eventually just falls off, gone. But the louse isn't leaving. Oh no. It has become the tongue. The parasite firmly attaches its own body to the stub of what's left, and the poor, traumatized fish is now forced to use this living creature as a prosthetic tongue for the rest of its life. The louse gets a safe place to live and first dibs on any food the fish happens to swallow, while the fish gets a new tongue made out of its worst nightmare. This is the only known case in nature of a parasite functionally replacing an entire organ. The louse's life cycle is entirely dependent on being taken into the host's mouth and literally becoming a part of it. It doesn't just want to be eaten, it wants to be assimilated. Resistance is futile. Number 1. The Interstellar ice cream scoop. Have you ever seen something that looked so good you just had to have a bite? Of course you have. Now, what if that tasty little morsel was actually a trap, designed by a creature that wants you to try and eat it, just so it can eat a part of you? Welcome to the absolutely bonkers feeding strategy of the cookie-cutter shark. This small, cigar-shaped shark lives in the deep ocean, and most of its underside is covered in photophores, which produce a faint green glow. This is a form of camouflage called counter-illumination. From below, its glowing belly blends in with the faint moonlight and starlight filtering down from the surface, making it effectively invisible but tanned. This is the genius part. It has a small, dark, non-glowing patch around its neck. To a larger predator swimming underneath it, like a tuna, a dolphin, or even a great white shark, this glowing field looks like the night sky, and that little dark patch looks exactly like the silhouette of a small, delicious fish, an easy snack. So, the big predator surges upward to gulp down the tasty little fish it sees. But as it closes in, the fish turns out to be a lure attached to a much bigger problem. The cookie-cutter shark lunges forward, latches onto the victim with its weirdly specialized sectorial lips, and then sinks its lower jaw, full of giant saw-like teeth, into the flesh. Then, it spins its entire body, using those teeth to carve out a perfectly round, conical plug of meat, like an ice cream scoop from hell. It then zips off into the darkness, leaving its much larger victim with a crater-like wound. This little shark uses its own body as bait, begging bigger animals to attack it, or for the chance to take a scoop and run. They've even taken bites out of nuclear submarines, mistaking their sonar domes for a snack. It's the ultimate dine and dash, and without a doubt, the most audacious way to get a meal in the deep sea. That's it for today. I've got more videos like this coming soon, so make sure to subscribe and stay tuned.